Welcome to the next version of the VMware Channel Pulse newsletter. I'm delighted to be joined by some of my usual suspects with Carl. Welcome, Carl.
Thank you, Andy. Good to be back.
And it's good to have the boss here for this version of the newsletter as well. Welcome, Tamar.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very much looking forward to this.
It's going to be good because actually it's not often that I get to sit here and say I'm looking pretty. But
you should laugh at that.
yeah, but we are sitting pretty because we have had an amazing last year. So to kick us off, can you give us a quick view, Tamar, on what the UK and I looks like from our VMware perspective?
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to come and talk to our amazing channel partners. We had an outstanding year, fiscal year 23, that ended at the end of January. An amazing Q4, an amazing half, an amazing year. Now, whilst VMware don't break down the numbers by country and region, I can tell you kind of the growth figures and what we saw in the UK and Ireland. So across the year, from our bookings number, so this is what we term our sort of license revenues, our professional services and everything, we grew that business by 28% across the year, which is fantastic. So all the teams, all the segments, all achieved plan grew the business. It was such a great year. And then within that, we have the SaaS and subscription metric, which is obviously a big focus for us in last fiscal year and continues to be a big focus going into this year. And that grew at 68%. I mean, wow. Phenomenal. And so I wanted to take this opportunity to thank all our partners for an outstanding year, quarter and half, for all your hard work, your efforts, your contribution. It really did pay off and really did enable VMware to have an absolutely flying year. And given some of the interesting things that happened during that year, it is wonderful to see how well we all did together. And from a managed partner perspective,
yep.
The managed partners absolutely nailed it, didn't they,
yeah.
Andy?
I think we have got to give a shout out to also our award-winning partner business managers.
Yes.
Because we had Dino pick up a UK award. We had Sarah in marketing pick up a PMM award. We had Claudia pick up the global award for OEM partners. And then we also had Charlie pick up the NEMEA, the Northern EMEA award for her work with Softcat. So an award-winning team, not surprising that we did so well. I think I need to talk down my target for this year.
Good luck.
We had a record-breaking year last year, and on the metric that really matters, the SaaS and subscription, where we will look to see the success of our partner business, we kind of grew 300% year on year inside of the managed partner base. So thank you, my team. That is an amazing job. Now, I don't think we should repeat that exact same number in the target going forward. So the priorities that we have for this year, because we have a tough year to follow, it's going to be difficult to repeat the success, but we are going to focus on delivering the real transformation towards the SaaS and subscription model. We've got a real laser focus on making sure all of our vSphere Plus renewals are going to go out the door, but as an outcome-focused based solution that gives a partner the ability to really sell the value to the customer. In order to do that, we've got a couple of programs that we're going to roll out, which will involve the likes of our cloud management business unit, which we're going to talk about a little bit later with Carl. And we're also going to make sure that whilst we're rolling these programs out, we focus on having a bit of a laugh as well. Because I think this year, what's gone incredibly well is celebrating the success that we've had with the partners going forward. So Carl, what's the technical priority this year?
I'd just like to add on the thank you to the partners and the technical community in the partners for helping us generate revenue. So fundamentally, the customer lifecycle initiatives, where our technical community and the partners are helping customers evaluate and look at their infrastructure and find what's the best fit for them. So a massive thank you for what we've achieved and for moving that forward. So yeah, just keep on doing more of the same. If there's anything where you're wanting to do more assessments and you're needing some support to understand how to do that, then reach out to myself and the partner SEs.
So thanks, Carl. We're actually going to be focusing next on talking with a conversation with from Dan from TD Synnex. And it is actually a conversation that is about how we are driving some of the cloud service provider revenue that gives us that SaaS and subscription number that we're hoping for as we go forward. And hopefully that gives us a point of view of how we can go and extend that capability to more of our partners as well. Okay, so with that, I've sat down with Dan Hicks and with Jamie Hudson to go through a couple of questions that talks about why this is such a growing part of our portfolio. So, as we've just discussed with Tamar, annual recurring revenue and some of the SaaS-based solutions that we have is a real focus for this year. So, I'm really pleased to welcome Dan from TD Synnex and also Jamie, who, as a legendary DPM in our team, are going to talk to us about some of the offerings and really how the market has been progressing this year. So, Dan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
No problem at all. So, tell us, how has the past year gone with servicing some of the VMware cloud service providers?
Obviously, I've worked with the VMware team for over 12 years now, but I would say this is the most enjoyable year that I've had working with the cloud services providers that we deal with. Really successful, I think, is the key bit. In terms of year-on-year growth, it's the fastest growing area of our VMware business. It's really helped sort of reinvigorate the partner appetite to sort of work with us in the VMware space.
Perfect. Thanks, Dan. Jamie, can you give us a more macro view of how the relationship's going with TD Synnex?
Yeah, of course. It's been my first full year working with TD Synnex. It's been an exciting year, and what we've seen from the partner base is a real hunger to take advantage of what TD Synnex are offering. There's a multitude of different areas that they've been, I would say, excelled in. One of those is lead generation campaigns. We've had some bespoke events with some accustomed presenters. We've had some enablement sessions with key partners. It's been a really exciting year with lots going on, and we've also done some really great solution selling and attach plays with the Carbon Black workload attach, which created a real buzz in our DRP base.
Yeah.
And also some great learnings for FY24 and how we can take certain technologies to market. And what that's essentially led to is a record-breaking year for TD Synnex, especially in the DRP base, where we've seen triple-digit growth in Q4, which was so impressive, and all kudos goes to the team.
Yeah, I think taking some of the lessons that we've seen, the traditional partners on the lead generation side, I see that I'm going to bring that to the service provider community, and it's something that community is probably the key piece there. We're building and fostering that community, and helping get the partner stories out there has been absolutely key, I think, it's not just about the growth of the number, it's about the messaging and the value that those guys have in the service provider space, getting out there to the market. So some of the blog pieces we've done, interviewing partners, doing this sort of video event today, I think is another step along the sort of path to sort of promoting those partner stories.
Okay. So what challenges have you faced over this year in driving what was the incredible success that we've had?
I think what you find is the partner space, customer acquisition has been it's always been one of the areas where partners are looking for support, they're looking for ideas. A lot of the service provider community has grown naturally, organically out of taking on a customer, managing their workloads, bringing them in-house. But how do they go out and find those new customers? How do they reach them? And I think, again, using some of the lead generation capabilities, data-driven insights that we've got from some of the marketing teams that support our telemarketing campaigns, that's really going to help. They're not necessarily organisations that are built to promote themselves. It's about the value of the service. There's a lot of word of mouth, natural growth. It's really about how do we accelerate that growth for them, I think, is the biggest challenge.
One of the areas that I think we really want to see grow is where we have in the program, we call it the cloud service provider SaaS space, which are the MSP services that our partners can pick up with very little commitment in having to build an environment and deliver that particular environment, because it operates a huge amount of responsibility, or it places a large responsibility on the partner to focus on the delivery of the service, which is a key thing that will enable our customers to be enthusiastic about what we've sold, because we are having a constant touch point with the customer to see if we're being successful in the implementation of the solution. What does TD Synnex do, particularly in that area, to help drive the success for the customer in being able to manage the service delivery through the partners?
Yeah, it's probably an area that you and I have both been engaged, Jamie, around talking to these partners and helping them understand that the CSP SaaS, or MSP as we used to know it, those services are ones that are quicker time to market because they're delivered from the VMware data centers.
Yeah.
But there's still that service wrap that goes around it and how the partner supports it. So I think what we bring from a TD Synnex point of view is the experience of having done this with numerous partners, and particularly when we're looking for the VMware partner community to transform from traditional resell to either the subscription offerings that I know we've talked a lot about, vSphere Plus, to true consumption based.
Yeah.
It's our experience in that space that I think makes the difference for those partners. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, spot on, Dan. I don't really have much to evangelise. You just touched on all the key points there.
So it's clear that you've got a focus on driving some of that MSP, annual recurring revenue, that subscription and SaaS business that we are so keen to see transform, or our partners transform with VMware. So how are you going to focus on that this year moving forward?
It's a good question. And as I said, I've really enjoyed the time that we've been working with these partners. I think there's lessons that we've learned. First of all is try to take a programmatic approach to how we engage with these partners. So at TD Synnex, we have the Accelerate framework. It's proven methodology that's used to look at partner capabilities, where they're looking to, that partner journey, essentially. And I think there's a clear line when I look at the VMware service provider community with partners that, as I said, are offering a very tight managed service. They maybe aren't offering all of the capabilities that you see other partners having, things like self-service or hybridity between customer on-premise environments and their own. So part of their job is going to be to help mature the service provider partners so that their offering is fit for what the end user demand is driving. So I think maturing the partners, helping them develop, absolutely fits part of the Accelerate framework. And then we've got those partners that are already doing those sort of key steps of self-service. Those partners, it's about helping them specialize. And that can mean all manner of things to different partners. For certain ones, it's specializing in terms of the ISV space. Others, it's a vertical specializations. Other areas might be around things like ESG. So things like the Zero Carbon Committed program that you guys are running. I'm seeing greater interest in that. From VM Explore, a lot of interest from the service provider community in terms of things like sovereign cloud. So I think our job is to help partners mature that are looking for that maturity. And then how do we help them specialize and evangelize the good things that they're doing and showing how that partner value differentiates them across the space.
Okay. So how are we going to help with the wider partner community with TD Synnex?
Yeah, it's a great question. I was intently listening to the previous Pulse newsletter where you went through vSphere Plus, as that'll be a key factor in our success in the flip to subscription, which is one of our key focus areas.
Yeah.
We have enablement in place. We've got lead generation campaigns. We've got webinars. We've got a lot of things going on to support that delivery of that message. And one of the key things is with TD Synnex is some campaigns in a box with Kappa Metrics and IQ Blade around how we can go deeper in those conversations around cloud management. We see that as a really key focus to take those partners on that journey from vSphere Plus to to cloud management. And you touched on a good point earlier around ESG. We see there's a real possibility in that sustainability place with ARIA operations in the ESG piece, because we can get these self-qualified leads where we know these partners are looking to be more sustainable and having challenges around managing their cloud environment. So then we can have a broader conversation around the ARIA portfolio, in particular ARIA operations, and that green dashboard, because that's so prevalent for them around sustainability.
Cool. I think I want to pick up something that you referred to earlier, Dan, and something that's relevant here as well, because you touched on the hybrid environment that customers are running. You can't really talk about the multi-cloud universe unless you really refer to some of the public cloud providers as well. Now, we obviously have some great relationships with the hyperscalers, as you do. So how are you going to help be the glue in the multi-cloud world as well?
I think modestly, as a VMware team within TD Synnex, I think we already are in many respects, that we sit within the enterprise software and cloud team. If anything, I want TD Synnex to be known as a cloud distributor. VMware is absolutely, to me, is the essence of cloud. That idea of the software-defined delivery of IT, that's a VMware message. I think a lot of it, I look at some of my colleagues within our great AWS team, our Microsoft team, our Google team, our Oracle team. There are peers and colleagues there that I've worked with on the VMware side for a long while. So I see the DNA of what we do in the VMware side is absolutely already there. I think it helps from a positioning sense that we are a trusted advisor to our partners, that they know that I can bring in the specialisms from those unique teams. I've joined some really interesting calls with our AWS colleagues around things like VMC on AWS, and it's making sure that it's the right cloud. And obviously I think there's a real opportunity for my service provider community to offer a location. There is value in those public clouds, and it's making sure we help the VMware partners unlock the value that those teams can really deliver.
So recurring revenue and everything to do with SaaS and subscription has been a bit of a topic we've touched on a couple of times. But let's be specific. So when it comes to vSphere Plus and the plans that we have going forward, how are we really going to help convert the install base over to that? Jamie, come to you first.
It's a good point. I touched on it earlier around vSphere Plus. We've got software store that's going to be so essential in being able to flip those people from perpetual license to the subscription. What we'll have is the sub quotes loaded onto that system and available to be used and utilized by the partner base. That'll be so critical. But what we want to do as TD Synnex and VMware as a unit is we want to be more agnostic in the way we go to market in terms of a route to market, how you can buy. We don't want you handcuffed to one area. So we want to go with a solutions approach. This is vSphere Plus. You consume, you buy, you utilize it however you see fit. And one thing that's so key with the Plus offering is I feel, is the additional products you're getting with it, the constant add into the roadmap, which is so essential. So they're the areas we're looking at for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there's that real opportunity of the service providers being able to offer choice. There's the fact is that it'll be VMware sellers, marketing, talking around that vSphere Plus messaging. Now is really the time for those service providers to go out there and say, look, we can augment the vSphere Plus offering. It should make the partner feel that they can go to market with all of the various licensing options, and it will be the best model that fits the need of that customer, I think is the key.
Spot on, Dan,
So I want to ask you a fairly specific question, Dan, because TD Synnex, as the name suggests, has gone through a fairly large acquisition and merger over the past years. How have you found that going? Because we at VMware have got a similar situation coming up.
I was thinking about our acquisitions and mergers over the years yesterday, and I've probably been through 5. I think I've been with the company, buying companies, merging. This has probably been the best fit that I've seen in terms of things like the geographical locations that we work in. Synnex were really strong in Asia Pac, North America, TD, that traditional EMEA base. So there's a real bringing together of those geographically. I think culture's something that's really important. It's a word that I've heard in a number of meetings recently. It's about retaining the culture that got us to the point of where we were now. How do we make sure that we keep that same culture going? And if anything, it's bringing more responsibility to us to deliver more to our partners. So last week I jumped on a call with some of my North American colleagues talking about our global capabilities around networking and security, because that's how we're viewed as a global partner with global capabilities, and that's true now with the merger, I think.
Cool. So I think both of you have mentioned this at various stages, but visibility into the cloud environment is critical.
Absolutely.
Whether that be from an operational point of view or from the point of view of just show me what I'm spending, show me what the cost implication of what I'm doing is. So fortunately, we've got Carl, who's going to come up next and discuss through some of the real advancements that's been made in the area operations side of our portfolio, and is going to talk through some of the advantages of that.
So thank you, Andy. So from a technical perspective, vSphere Plus has been resonated extremely well. The Cloud Console and the ability to easily access services like VMware Cloud Disaster Recovery and the add-on from ransomware has resonated with our customers. Also in the Cloud Console, there's now the ability to have a centralized view of infrastructure operations and being able to look across the estate from a single place. What I have had significant feedback on is lifecycle management improvements and the ability to be able to easily update our vCenter instances with minimal downtime. And we're also very excited for the upcoming release of being able to do the same for the ESX hosts. So one of the things which was new in vSphere Plus was the ability to have a high-level capacity view of the environment. Centralized pane where you can see across your vCenters the current capacity need and the timeline for the potential need for additional hosts. Now I look at that as being able to view how busy a motorway is, how many buses and cars are on that track. What it doesn't give us is the ability to look into that to see whether there's a lot of people on the bus or there's just one person. I would encourage everybody to look into utilising area operations as the add-on service to get greater insight. Is there only one person on the bus? Is there 10 people in the car? To get that insight into what's going on. So to delve into that a little bit more, so area operations can provide many functions to add value to the VI admins in the business. So the VI admin now has got more time, less time thinking about upgrading the infrastructure. So with area operations, they can configure a gold, silver and bronze tiering to be able to map the requirements of the infrastructure to the needs of the application. Efficiency, capacity and cost management, being able to plan how much future projects are going to require. Is there current space in the environment to host it? Or do they need to be looking at getting additional resources? This can be easily done with what-if planning within area operations. And from a mean time to resolution perspective, errors happen, configuration issues happen. With area operations, we can have agents across the infrastructure, from networking and storage through to the middleware and applications. And we can pull this together to be able to reduce the mean time to recovery. An integrated configuration and compliance. We're fully aware now that there's a lot more requirements placed on businesses for certifications, like PCI DSS and ISO. Area operations can help provide those into the business. So to elaborate on a little bit more from the alerts, with respect to being able to reduce the mean time to recovery for issues in your environment, we can collect event data, metrics, and also application intelligence via our extensive plugins running across storage, networking devices, application tiers, middleware, and databases. This can be all collated together and based on our AI engine, make recommendations either through to a VRO workflow, which could be a remediation, or a recommendation for a KB article. What I really get great feedback from infrastructure teams is the ability to be able to show what it is they're doing to the people who own those applications, creating customized dashboards, which is purely focusing on the business unit's application. And finally, being able to create reports sent out maybe once a week around the state of a compliance situation. So for example, being able to send through to the CISO any potential changes or drifts away from a PCI DSS statement, or through to a procurement team around capacity planning and the potential needs for additional infrastructure coming up in the future. These are all additional capabilities which area operations can bring to vSphere Plus. And we're all aware of the increasing requirement for businesses to be able to report upon their environmental impact. Our operations has created dashboards which can give insight into the CO2 utilisation of the infrastructure. Now, anybody who's been working as a VI admin will appreciate the challenges of being able to right-size and encourage businesses and application owners to be able to right-size their environment. What it is we're bringing here is to be able to quantify that from a CO2 perspective. Many reports can be generated around the impact of the environment and how to be able to get the best bang for buck, both from a cost perspective and from a carbon perspective out of your environment. So on that, I will hand over to Sarah and Rob for a marketing update.
Hi, I'm Rob, the Partner Marketing Specialist here in the UK and I.
And I'm Sarah, the Partner Marketing Manager for VMware, looking after our distribution and managed partners. Today, we'd really love the opportunity to take you through some of our flagship events in FY24, starting with Empower.
We hope you can join us for our free and online annual Partner Enablement event that will commence on the 23rd to the 24th of May. Across the 2-day event, you'll get access to the latest technical, sales and marketing content, as well as have the opportunity to experience expert-led hand-on labs and chat directly with VMware innovators. Please make sure you join us at this event, and there's no need to worry about travelling as it will be completely virtual. We cannot wait to connect with you there. Sarah will now take you through the VMware's go-to-market play strategy, which will be covered in the tracks at Empower.
The GPS plays provide the essential marketing components to target and expand your customer's footprint, resulting in more opportunities for your sales teams that close faster. With practical guidance created from experienced VMware sales teams, each play has aligned demand generation kits, sales assets, and a customer engagement framework that help drive meaningful engagement with key decision makers and IT buyers. The plays have been built around customer priorities, and these are focused in 3 key areas. The first being the scale cloud native platform operations, the second is accelerate enterprise cloud transformation, and the third is empower the hybrid workforce. You'll learn how to leverage our pre-packaged assets to build repeatable sales motions from awareness to purchase that your teams can successfully execute.
We had to mention Explore after the huge success of being back face-to-face last year. We didn't have many details to share with you yet, other than we'll be back in Barcelona on the 6th to the 9th of November. Make sure you save the date and hope to see lots of you and your customer there over the 4 days. As expected, there'll be hundreds of sessions and endless ideas and endless networking opportunities.
Thank you for listening, and if you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to one of us.
Well, that's a wrap on another channel newsletter for this quarter. How have you found it?
I have loved it. Andy, thank you so much for inviting me. I've really enjoyed it. I want to come and do more of these. It's great fun.
Well, we can arrange that, no problem. So to close off, I just want to ask you a couple of questions because really we've got 2 fairly significant changes coming up this year. And it'd be great just to get your viewpoint on how we're going to react to that going forward. One of these things is Broadcom, which I think a lot of people know about. And the other one is about a segmentation change in our sales teams that will really benefit the partners that are out there. So can you give us an update on that?
Certainly. So let me start with Broadcom. So we are still going through regulatory approval for the Broadcom acquisition. I believe the EU is coming back to us now in June. So we are anticipating a kind of a July, August, maybe late summer acquisition timeframe, and assuming there's no further delays through the regulatory approval process. So we're still anticipating it will happen in Broadcom's fiscal year, which is to the end of October. It's just probably going to be slightly later summer than originally anticipated.
Sure. So it makes sense really for us that everything is just business as usual.
Absolutely. We are still operating as an independent organisation. It is absolutely business as usual. And especially coming off such a phenomenal year, we really are gunning for it and going for it. We need it, exactly. Exactly, a fast start. And so that leads us onto the sales segmentation model. So yes, we have changed our segmentation and aligned it with strategic accounts, corporate accounts and commercial accounts. And this is where I think there is now a huge opportunity for our partners going into this fiscal year. So we operate a channel model in the UK and Ireland. Huge believer in having a very clean channel model. My original career, my leadership career, was leading the channel for many years at the previous company I worked for, and I am a big believer in having a very clean channel model. So we've always transacted this business through the channel. However, the focus that we have got now, certainly around the corporate and commercial accounts, is that it's a partner-first sales model.
Yeah.
And that the partners will be leading their pre-sales engagement, the sales engagement, much more than maybe previously has happened. The benefit to the channel partners for this is, of course, therefore, the services and the value add and the wraparound services will be a partner-first model. Sure. And so we're very much looking at leaning with those partners who want to lean in with us, to work alongside them so that the partners really take that leadership in providing the services and the value and the benefit realization to the customers, rather than it being VMware leading it.
Sure. I mean, we can't wait to help facilitate the conversations between our core sales teams and all of the partner sales teams that are out there. So I think we've got a fantastic year ahead. It's going to be a challenge, as it usually is, but we wouldn't want it any other way.
No, especially as Andy's target is going to be 300% growth. So he's going to need all the help.
I think we should have a conversation off camera. Yeah, so thanks very much for tuning in. I'd love to hear some feedback if anybody's got some ideas of where we can go better or different information you'd like to see. But thanks very much. I'll see you next time.
Yeah, and I look forward to seeing you all over the coming weeks and months. Thank you.